Now let's turn our attention to a few China-based companies. Eva Ados is with us, COO of ER Shares. The ERSX ETF is higher this month, Eva, and we're looking at that. How is China's economy faring versus the United States and the rest of the world?
So we are seeing now what we call at ER Shares an intermarket reversion, which is the beginning of a rotation to international. U.S. has dominated the markets for over a decade now, and it's the beginning of a new cycle. The international is going to dominate for the next few years, and of course, we are very concentrated in China. China is now free of COVID concerns, of course, and they're operating at near full capacity. And on top of that, they recently signed a 15-nation trade pact that affects countries such as Japan, South Korea, and Australia. And the biggest beneficiary will be, of course, China, who is already in a very strong position in the Asia-Pacific market, given the fact that there was a reduction of U.S. influence in that market during COVID, or during the COVID period.
So just to clarify, I mean, when you're saying about what you see in China and the growth that you could see in China, and they're sort of ahead of us with everything when it comes to COVID. They're already receiving vaccines, for example. You think money to be invested should maybe better invested in China than here at home?
Exactly. We are optimistic across all areas. We think the vaccine news is going to carry the markets onwards and upwards towards the end of the year and the Q1, Q2, as you said earlier. Unfortunately, we are not that optimistic when it comes to consumer discretionary companies that have weak financial statements. So we are optimistic in terms of technology coming back to their glory days, and very optimistic about international. And the biggest focus is China. As you point out, they don't have big issues anymore, and their economy is back to normal.
Right, and you know, we watch a lot of the electric vehicle companies. I know you have NIO on your, on your horizon there that you're watching. Tell me about some of the names that you're watching closely, because a lot of people love Tesla, and I wonder how Tesla fits in there too.
Exactly. So, Tesla is of course targeting also the Chinese market, and that's a good strategy. But the Chinese market is the biggest electric vehicle market in the world. It's the leader in sales when it comes to EV vehicles, and their EV market is growing twice as fast as the U.S. market. They're expecting that 1/4 of their car sales by 2025 will be actually electric vehicles, and we are focusing on three Chinese companies there. That's NIO, XPeng, and Li Auto. And all the three of them are actually entrepreneurial, which means they're satisfying our entrepreneur threshold. Each of them is very well positioned to target a specific niche in the market of China. And we especially like NIO. We think it's now at 49. We think it's going to reach 350.
I think it's interesting when you talk about basically 25% of the folks are going to be buying electric vehicles in the near future. 2025 is basically the near future to me. To get to that sort of level in the United States, we're nowhere near that for electric vehicles in the United States. I mean, I think we're at a few percent at this point. So 25% of cars sold that electric vehicles, I mean, the difference is so vast. That being said, what do you like in the United States? What if somebody doesn't want to invest abroad? Do you have some ideas what they can invest in here at home?
So here at home, we like entrepreneurial companies. We think those were the ones that led the way during the COVID period. And even when it comes to value, it's the entrepreneurial value that we saw that is disrupting the non-entrepreneurials. For example, we have Lyft and Uber and TripAdvisor. They are disrupting the industries of transportation and tourism. So it's important to see that COVID accelerated the move to technology and innovation. And the companies that are being being disrupted, this is not going to change anytime soon. We have new behaviors now. We're not going to go back to what we were in 2019. 100%, of course, we're going to increase travel. We're going to, tourism is going to get better, but we're not going to travel as much for business meetings. So we see a rotation to technology and innovation, and that's going to continue. So entrepreneurial value or growth is the place to be if someone wants to invest in the US. That being said, we see in the long-term future much better opportunities in the international markets that are now considered value too, because they have lagged far behind for over a decade now. And it's a very good value for investors to diversify their portfolio and into the tripolar world. That means Europe, US, and especially China.
Right. Now, I know what you're saying. I mean, you're looking at these disruptors, you're looking at things that are technology forward, we're not going back, and some of those are valued more fairly. Some of our things here at home, the PE ratios have gotten a little out of control. I know what you're saying, Eva. It's always great to have you on the show. Thank you. Eva Ados, COO of ER Shares. Good to see you. Thanks.